Hi everybody, it's Laurie with Live Inspired Healing Arts. This is my second video in my series on working with your mind, and this video is on slowing down your mind. I'm going to be giving you some tips and tools and things that I have developed and that I have used that have helped me over the years to slow down my mind. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about why it's important for you to even want to learn how to do this. You know, in our Western society, our minds are constantly going. It's just going all the time. We're moving, going. And we're not really taught how to slow our minds down. And that's okay, except that when we live that way regularly, we are not available to what's actually happening in our lives. And we miss some of the most beautiful times in our lives. And we also miss some of the greatest learning opportunities that we can have in our life. You know, I used to do funerals and weddings and officiate those. And I've often said that I prefer funerals over weddings. Don't get me wrong, weddings are great. They're wonderful. Except that very often than not, brides and grooms don't even remember their wedding. They don't remember anything about it, or they remember very little about it. And the reason that is because their minds are not available to the present moment. They're thinking about, you know, I hope I don't fall when I'm walking down the aisle. Or how does my dress look? What's my hair look like? Oh my God, how's the cake? Is everything okay? Did the flowers get there on time? What's mom and dad doing? Oh my God, what happened next? Are we going to be in love 10 years from now? Like their brains are thinking about everything except what's happening right in that present moment. And you miss some of the most beautiful moments of our lives. We miss them this way. You know, the last 5 years have been some of the best 5 years that I have ever experienced. More love, more joy, more peace, more fullness, just more everything. It's been beautiful. And at the same time, the last 5 years have been some of the most painful times that I've ever experienced. And I gotta tell you, I am so grateful that I have learned to be present and available for all of it. All of it, for the whole experience, because that's why we're here. You know, to be available to the beauty and the joy, to not have missed any of it. I'm so grateful that I didn't miss any of it, especially when I hit those painful times. I was grateful that I was available to the beauty of it. But I'm also grateful for being available to the uncomfortable and the pain, because in those times I learned some of the greatest lessons I could learn about self-love and about love of others, about becoming more closer to the trueness of the essence of who I really am. And we often avoid the difficulties in our lives, the difficult and painful times, when in fact, those times are some of the greatest opportunities for us to become better human beings, to learn more love for self and others, more compassion, more wisdom, more spirit, more spirituality, becoming more connected to our essence and the spirit of who we really are, is what these opportunities can provide for us if we'll be available to them. So those are great reasons to want to slow down your mind. But another reason is that when you learn to slow down your mind, it allows you to be more available to what's happening in your mind, to your thought processes. And when you become aware and available to your thought processes, it allows you to now be able, your thought processes, whichever. It allows you to now be able to make conscious decisions about what you're going to do with those thoughts and those patterns that sometimes cause us to get caught up in a situation, or we're thinking things that are not in our best interest. As you slow down your mind, you become more aware of those things, and it allows you the space and opportunity to change them and put there something in its place that's more beneficial for you. So that is a really good reason, because as you learn to do that, it helps you to live a much better, more fulfilling life, and you'll be happier, and the people around you will be happier too. I promise you, if you can learn how to do that. So now that we've talked about some reasons that it would be good for you to want to slow down your mind, let me give you some tools. Now, in my work, I have found that people who don't have a regular practice of working with their mind and learning how to slow down their mind often have a hard time getting into the flow of things. So a couple of things that I will give them to do, and some of this is really fun that I've learned to develop over the years. One of the first things I want to tell you is, you know, I used to always lose my keys. And this will help you, if you're a person who loses things, to be able to not lose them so much anymore. So I got tired of losing my keys, and I realized that the reason I was losing them was because I wasn't conscious when I was setting my keys down. I was doing it on autopilot. I was just setting down and going to do the next thing, and I couldn't remember. So this is particularly useful if you're putting things in places that you don't normally put them. So what I would do is go, okay, I'm putting this here on the table. I want to remember, I want to be present in this moment. I'm consciously recognizing, and I'm seeing myself putting these keys on the table right here. So whether it's your watch, your keys, your rings, your whatever that you're putting down, you're going to consciously remember where you place that so that you can remember where it was later and come back to it and know that you can find it there. So you can do this also when you're getting ready for work in the morning. It's really about just making a conscious decision to be present for what's happening in that moment. So you can do this when you're putting on your makeup. You put it on very intentionally so that you are aware of how you're placing it, where you're putting it, what it looks like, what the texture is like. You can do this when you're eating, slowly chewing your food, counting how many times you chew it, taking the time to enjoy the savor, the flavor, the texture in your mouth. What's the texture like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does the food look like? How does it feel going in? How does it feel when you swallow it? Can you feel it going all the way down into your tummy? How does that experience, being completely present and available to that experience? You can do this with your housework, washing your dishes. You're going to count the number of times you rinse this plate or you rotate that cloth or that sponge around that plate, and consciously make an intentional effort to remember turning on that water and turning it off, rinsing that plate. If you're going to put it in the dishwasher, remembering where you put it, being conscious and observing all the other dishes around it and how it's placed. Yes, this is going to take you longer to do. That's the point. You're slowing down, and it's helping you to slow down your mind. Another thing you can do is your breathing. This is really effective at night. So if you're having trouble going to sleep, this can actually help you go to sleep. Or if you're having trouble getting back to sleep, it can help you get back to sleep. So it's just focusing on your breath and counting your breath. So I'm going to show you what that actually looks like. It looks like just sitting there and, bringing your attention to your breath. You're breathing normally. And then you're going to begin to count your breaths. You can count breathing in. I usually start on a count of 3. You breathe in on a count of 1, 2, 3. You hold for a count and you breathe out 1, 2, 3. And you just do that until it's comfortable, because you don't want to hyperventilate. The goal here is to achieve a nice regular even flow of breath that you're comfortable with. And then once you do that, you can begin to extend that count. Breathe in on a count of 4. Breathe out on a count of 4. Breathe in on a count of 5. Breathe out on a count of 5. And this can be fun because you can work with how long the counts can be for you. Now, the goal, let me tell you, is not to have longer counts. It's not to get to 12 or 11. If you can do that, that's great, but that's not really the goal. The goal is to focus on your breath and have it nice and even and slow things down. And in this way, you're slowing your brain. You're slowing your whole system down, actually, but you're slowing your brain down. And that's why it'll help you go to sleep. Another thing that I like to have people do, this can be fun too, on your way to work, in your car, make a conscious effort to notice and remember 6 to 10 things that you've never noticed before. It could be something as simple as the trees in your neighbor's yard, the dog barking, the position of the clouds in the sky. Maybe you're driving at night and you've noticed the moon and how full and beautiful the moon is. Keep your eyes on the road. I don't want you getting into an accident. But the goal is to just notice something that you pass every day that maybe you have not noticed before. This will help you slow down. This is really great to do if you're a walker, if you walk. I love doing this when I'm walking. It's great. When I used to commute to work, I really enjoyed citing things that I had. And I was amazed at the number of things that I was able to cite that I had never seen before, even though I had walked that path day after day after day. You'll be surprised at the things that you will notice, but this will help you begin to slow down your mind. Now, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of the absolute greatest ways for you to learn how to slow down your mind and to be able to observe your thoughts is through meditation. And people get intimidated when we talk about meditation. There's no reason for you to be intimidated by meditation, because people have a misconception about meditation. People think that meditating means not having any thoughts at all. And honestly, that's impossible. Like, if you're not having any thoughts, I want you to check your pulse, because at the very best, you're deceased. At the worst, you don't exist at all. But here's the bottom line. If you are thinking that you're thinking about not having thoughts, or you're thinking that you're not having a thought, then you're still thinking, so you're still here. So you're not going to not think when you sit down to meditate, especially in the very beginning, and that's okay. The goal here is to allow yourself to have those thoughts and let them just pass. So what you can do for the purpose of what I'm talking about here, of course, I would encourage you, if you can, to find somebody to train you in a particular form of meditation. But if you don't find that, that's fine. For the purposes of what we're talking about today, it's finding a nice, quiet place to just sit and get comfortable, whether it's on the floor, whether it's on a chair, on the edge of your bed, at work in your chair, wherever you are in your car, where you can find a nice comfortable spot. And you can do this with your eyes open or you can do it with your eyes closed. And you're just going to begin to go within and allow your thoughts to be. And just acknowledge them. Just be aware of them. A thought will come and a thought will go. And a thought will come and a thought will go. And you'll let it happen. You're not going to analyze them. You're not going to judge them. You're not going to question them. You're just going to let them occur and let them be. It's really that simple. Okay, so it sounds that simple, right? It's a practice. This is something you can do for a few minutes to begin with. And if you find your mind runs away, because in the very beginning it will, even after years and years of doing this, it will. Trust me, it happens to me all the time. But when your mind runs away, you just, once you realize that it has gotten away from you, you're right back. So you can go back to the observation process of letting your thoughts be. This is going to help you to develop a greater level of compassion with your thoughts and with your mind, with yourself, a greater level of love and understanding towards self, because we're not judging these thoughts, we're just letting them occur. And this will help slow down your brain so that in your everyday waking life, you will be able to be aware of what's happening, not just in the present moment, but what's happening in your brain also and in your mind. And you can begin to work with your mind to develop and have thoughts that are beneficial for you versus the thoughts that are working against you. So I hope this information has been useful for you. I'm really anxious to hear how these things are working for you. If you haven't watched my video from last week on changing your mind, I encourage you to do that. If you have watched it and you are using those tools and they're working for you or you're getting some results, please let me know. Inbox me, put some comments in the comments section. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer those for you as well. You can put that in the comment section or inbox me or call me on my phone, however you want to get a hold of me. So I hope that you are having a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever is going on with you. And of course, may you ever live inspired. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.